Attention passionate Cleveland, BROWNS. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Cleveland Browns' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Cleveland Browns fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Cleveland, BROWNS. Let's get to the news. When you think about the Cleveland Browns, a team with a rich and sometimes tumultuous history, you can't help but feel the excitement building up for what could be a pivotal season. The Browns have been on an interesting trajectory over the past few years, trying to carve out their place among the NFL's elite. And this year, the stakes are even higher. With a roster that's loaded with talent, especially on the offensive side, and a coaching staff that's hungry for success, there's a palpable sense that this could be the year the Browns finally break through and make a real championship push. But as always, in the NFL, everything hinges on that one crucial position, the quarterback. And this season, the competition and the storylines around Cleveland's signal caller are particularly intriguing, especially with the spotlight shining on Shedeur, a name that's been making waves across football circles. Now, Shedeur, son of the legendary Deion Sanders, is a player with undeniable talent and charisma, and he was a high-profile recruit coming out of Colorado. His move to Cleveland in the NFL draft caught a lot of attention. But what's interesting is where he was selected. He was taken in the 5th round, the number 144 overall pick, which honestly is a bit of a surprise considering his talent and pedigree. It's not uncommon for quarterbacks to slide in the draft, especially if teams have questions about their development or fit. But Sanders' fall raises some questions about how NFL teams view his potential at the highest level. The Browns, of course, saw something in him. They're always looking to develop raw talent and find that hidden gem who can develop into a franchise quarterback. This pick, however, places Sanders in a crowded quarterback room that includes some experienced veterans and promising young players. You've got Joe Flacco, the seasoned veteran with a Super Bowl ring and a wealth of experience, especially as a mentor and locker room presence. Then there's Kenny Pickett, the Steelers' first-round pick from 2022, who's been showing flashes of promise and is considered the future of Pittsburgh's offense. And don't forget Dillon Gabriel, a third-round pick from Oklahoma, a talented young QB who has impressed in college and is looking to translate that success into the NFL. So Sanders finds himself in a tough spot, battling for a roster spot in a division that's fiercely competitive and full of talent. The reality is, most analysts agree that Sanders is a long shot to win the starting quarterback job right out of training camp. With all the experience and proven production of the guys ahead of him, especially Flacco's veteran savvy, it's unlikely that Sanders will be handed the keys immediately. Instead, he'll probably start off buried on the depth chart, earning his reps in practice, learning from the sidelines, and waiting for his opportunity. That's the nature of rookie development in the NFL: patience, perseverance, and continuous improvement. But make no mistake, the talent is there. Sanders has shown flashes of brilliance, and the Browns see him as a project worth developing. Still, if things don't go as planned, if he doesn't secure a spot on the roster or struggles to find his footing, his future could take a different route, possibly toward the CFL. Yes, you heard that right. The Canadian Football League could become a landing spot for Sanders if things don't work out in Cleveland or elsewhere in the NFL. Recently, the Toronto Argonauts, one of the league's most storied franchises, added Sanders to their negotiation list. Now, being on that list doesn't mean he's signed with them yet, but it's a significant move. It means Toronto has the first right to negotiate with him if he decides to play in Canada, and that possibility is stirring up some interesting buzz. For CFL fans, especially in Toronto, the idea of Shedeur donning their jersey is quite a spectacle. The league's analysts talk about him as a name on the list that could bring some serious excitement and attention to the Canadian game, especially considering his star power and his famous father. Marshall Ferguson, a respected CFL analyst, made some comments that really capture the intrigue. He said, "This is the name on the list if you're going for cartoonishly loud and fun name recognition." You already know the story and the bloodlines as Shedeur Sanders showed off million-dollar watches to opposing student sections while enjoying his visit to Colorado with legendary dad Dayan. Can you imagine the buzz around Sanders to Toronto? I can't yet, but after falling all the way to the fifth round of the NFL draft this year, never say never. That's the thing about Sanders. He's got that star quality that can light up any league, and if he hits the right notes in Canada, it could open up a whole new chapter for him, and perhaps even for the Browns, depending on how his NFL story unfolds. Now, it's crucial to understand what being on a CFL team's negotiation list actually entails. It's basically an option for the team to negotiate with the player if he ever decides to cross the border and play in Canada. It doesn't mean he's signed yet, that's a separate step. But it's a clear indication that the CFL is watching him closely and might be ready to pounce if the NFL situation doesn't pan out. For Sanders, at just 23 years old, the future remains wide open. He's still very young, and there's plenty of room for growth, both on and off the field. His journey in the NFL has just started, and while he's faced some hurdles, he's also shown resilience and a willingness to learn. During the offseason, Sanders has been working hard, but the reality is, his reps during OTAs and minicamp have been limited. He's yet to take snaps with the first-team offense, which puts him behind some of the more established quarterbacks in training camp. That's not unusual for rookies, especially those drafted later, but it does mean he has a lot of catching up to do. Still, Sanders remains focused. He's got a mature mindset, emphasizing that he views every moment as a learning opportunity. "Life is just based on how you view different things," he said in June. "So you can view things as you're not getting reps in a negative way, or you can see it as, okay, when it's my time to get out there, let's be proactive and let's get warm, let's get going." That attitude is what coaches love to see, especially in a rookie quarterback fighting for his shot. Sanders' story in Cleveland is still very much a work in progress. Although he's made some positive impressions in the locker room and the community, there have been some off-field headlines that have raised eyebrows. Just a few weeks ago, he was issued 2 speeding tickets within a short span, which naturally drew some negative attention. It's not uncommon for young athletes to face such challenges, but in the NFL, every action is scrutinized, and it can sometimes impact how coaches and management view a player's discipline and decision-making. Sanders addressed the incidents with maturity, posting a short video on social media where he said, "I've made some wrong choices, personally I can own up to them. I've made some not great choices, I learned from it." That's a positive sign: ownership, accountability, and a willingness to grow from mistakes. As training camp approaches, the Browns are preparing to evaluate their roster, and Sanders will be right there in the mix. Rookies report on July 18, with the veterans arriving a few days later on July 22. It's a critical period for all young players, especially for those like Sanders, trying to carve out a path in a highly competitive environment. The coaching staff will be closely watching him, assessing his development, his grasp of the playbook, and his ability to perform under pressure. The Browns' quarterback room is filled with talent, but every player has a shot if they show dedication and resilience. For Sanders, this is an opportunity to prove that he belongs, to show that his talent can translate to the NFL level, and perhaps even to prove to the league that the fifth-round slide was just a fluke. Looking at Cleveland's recent history with quarterbacks, it's been a roller coaster. Johnny Manziel, a former first-round pick, tried to revive his career with CFL stints after a tumultuous NFL run, but that chapter didn't turn out as hoped. Meanwhile, Baker Mayfield, once the franchise savior, has had his ups and downs, and now with Deshaun Watson's arrival, the Browns are in a different phase of their quarterback journey. Sanders' path is different, but it's filled with potential. He's young, talented, and determined, and the team's coaching staff has expressed interest in his development. The Browns are known for their patience with young quarterbacks, developing talent, giving opportunities, and waiting for the right moment to strike. And if Sanders doesn't make the cut in Cleveland, the CFL could be waiting with open arms, which would be quite a story for a player with such a high-profile background. But beyond just the NFL and CFL possibilities, what really matters is Sanders' mindset. He's spoken openly about his focus on growth and not letting setbacks define him. His attitude of staying positive, working hard, and learning from every experience, whether it's limited reps or off-field mistakes, is what could ultimately shape his career. The Browns themselves are in a crucial phase, trying to build on their recent success and push even further in the playoffs. With a defense that's among the best in the league and a revamped offensive line, the pressure is on the offense to perform, and the quarterback position is at the center of it all. Of course, fans are eager to see how all of this unfolds. The anticipation around Cleveland's quarterback battles is reaching a fever pitch, and Sanders' journey is a big part of that story. Will he rise up and earn his spot, or will he find a new home elsewhere? Will the CFL be his next chapter, or is this just a stepping stone to NFL greatness? These questions hang in the air as we approach training camp and the start of a new season. Cleveland fans are known for their resilience and passion, and they're certainly rooting hard for Sanders to succeed, whether it's in Cleveland or beyond. The team's future, the division, and perhaps even the league's landscape could be changed depending on how this story plays out. And now, Cleveland Browns fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Cleveland Browns. Do you believe Sanders can turn things around and secure a spot? Or do you think the CFL might be a more realistic destination for him in the near future? Whatever your thoughts, I'm eager to hear your perspective. Remember, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Cleveland Browns news. We're in a really exciting phase of this team's journey, and your support makes all the difference. So keep the passion alive, keep cheering for your Browns, and let's see what the future holds for Shedeur Sanders and this incredible franchise. Thanks for sticking with us, and as always, go Browns.